Hello, and welcome to Living Proof, the Isaac Newton Institute podcast. My name is Dan Aspel, and I'm your host. Today, myself and Dr. Christy Marr are speaking to Parimala Raman, the Kirk Distinguished Visiting Fellow for an ongoing I&I program focused on K-theory. Parimala teaches at Emory University in Georgia, but has extensive experience of research in her home country of India, where she represents a significant role model for younger women beginning their careers in mathematics. We hope you enjoy the episode. So, Christy Marr, we are here with Parimala Raman. It's a pleasure to have you here, Parimala.
Thank you.
And I think we were going to begin our interview just by having a little introduction to you. So, as I mentioned in the intro to this episode, you are the Kirk Fellow for your program, which is the KAH program. Christy, could you remind me of the title of the KAH program, or at least the subject of it?
Oh, it's all about K-theory, and it's the Kirk Distinguished Visiting Fellow.
That is true. The Kirk Distinguished Visiting Fellow, to give it its full title, absolutely. So, Parimala, you're here in quite a senior capacity. I would love to hear a little bit of your history as a mathematician. And if you could start when you first became interested in mathematics, I would love to hear that. When did you first discover mathematics?
Already when I was in school, I was interested quite a bit in mathematics study. And at the end of my high school, my father wanted to know what I would like to continue my studies with. And I said, I'd like to continue with mathematics. So he sort of said, that's fine. I mean, he was a very encouraging person. He said, but perhaps studying English or doing medicine will be better suited to you for your career. I mean, he was himself an English professor, by the way. I said, I certainly do not want to do medicine, because I don't want to study biology. And English is fine, but perhaps I'll still do mathematics. And he agreed. And so that's how I started taking an undergraduate program in mathematics and so on, yeah.
And this was in southern India, is that right?
It was. I studied in a girls' high school in Chennai. And my teachers were excellent, and they already spotted some kind of spirit in me and tried to encourage me to continue with math, and so, yeah.
What kind of environment would you say there was around mathematics for you at that stage in your life? Did you generally encounter encouragement amongst the other students and the teachers, the professors, and such? I'm asking particularly because there is sometimes a gender imbalance in the attitudes towards mathematics. Girls are discouraged.
Sure. I studied in a girls' high school, so there is no distinction. And I went to a women's college, and so there is no distinction. But my teachers were very, very, very encouraging about my doing math. And so that was a very, very, very encouraging and kind atmosphere, both in high school and in college. Especially one of my professors was really instrumental in my continuing a career in mathematics, doing PhD to start with. At that point, it was a big deal for a girl to go in for a PhD studies. And she said, you should not start teaching mathematics, but you should really go and explore research before you come back to teach. So that's how it was really supportive my teachers in college.
I think that's wonderful advice as well. It's very good.
Yes, I mean, but for her advice, I might have turned to teaching math. And that's one of the things all my friends did at that time. So, but I did go to Tata Institute to do my research in mathematics. And that was, again, a challenging atmosphere. And yeah, I didn't find any kind of gender issue when I was doing my PhD. Of course, there were very few girls compared to boys, and almost all the faculty were men. But I don't even think I thought of these issues at that time. It didn't matter for me. And I was encouraged as much as other students. So it didn't make much of a difference for me.
Very good. Thank you. So you're now at Emory. So you are Arts and Sciences Distinguished Professor of Mathematics at Emory, and you were previously Asa Giggs Candler Mathematics Chair. So what brought you to Emory?
Well, I mean, there were a bunch of young mathematicians at Emory who were interested in my coming to Emory at some point. And it was very tempting. And of course, behind all my move was a personal reason that my son was working in the US. He went to study in US and continued working. And we thought at some point in time we could be closer geographically to our son than from India. So that was the personal reason behind my moving, besides the academic reasons.
That's lovely. And did it work out? Did he actually come and visit you?
It worked out very, very well. Oh. I'm so happy for it. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And mathematics was always a very natural choice for you, it seems. Your father asked you, would you rather do other things? And you said, no, absolutely certain. I want to study mathematics. Can you describe why you love mathematics and what draws you to it? Why did you choose it for certain?
Well, I mean, I didn't have as much education in mathematics from home or extra encouragement from the school. I mean, it's just the routine kind of things I learned. So, however, I mean, I just I liked problems in Euclidean geometry, solving riders, we used to call it. And so I sort of, it was some kind of a natural for me compared to other studies. So I really wanted to pursue and try to learn mathematics. And of course, when I went to Tata Institute, my prime motive was to learn as much mathematics as possible, because I have heard about the kind of mathematics that went on in Tata Institute, and I was very inspired to study in such an institution. And yeah, so that's how I went to Tata Institute to do my PhD.
One thing that we find very commonly, I would say, Christy, with lots of the people that we interview, is a struggle against the gender imbalance, which you've referred to there. You said that there were the faculty was entirely male. It didn't occur to you, in your own words, it didn't damage your education at all. But it can be very difficult for people to find role models and other figures like them who they can draw inspiration from. Do you find that you have become that figure for younger women in India?
I do understand it, because many times there are requests for me to give talks to various fora of women mathematicians, and so I enjoy doing it whenever it is possible. Yeah, it is. I feel very honored to have this kind of impact on young women, and I do make an effort to try to, whatever forum possible, explain what it is to have a career in mathematics, right, and my own experiences.
And I mean, how do you feel about having a career in mathematics? Would you ever change if you could go back and choose a different path?
No, I don't think I would choose another career. I enjoy doing what I want. On top of it, I'm even paid for it. So it's a very enviable position. So I don't think I would think of another career even given a chance.
So something I would love to ask you about, if I may. So I read an old interview that you did at Emory that talked about how at times you followed your husband's career, at times he followed your career. And I know that the two-body problem that was an issue for you a few years ago, but it's still a very current issue for many of our participants here, and I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, how that came about. Yes.
So exactly. So I repeat this story very often. When I got married, I was having a position in Tata Institute, and my husband was working. His name is Raman. He was working in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, as a chief auditor for government. And so I thought I'll take a break, and I thought I will even resign from Tata Institute. But the dean at that time of the faculty of mathematics, of the School of Mathematics, he encouraged me to take a leave of absence for a year and go and then decide, okay? So I went with my husband to Dar es Salaam, and we even went together to the university to have a look whether I could do something, but there was not much of an option. So at that time, I was there for about 6 months or so. I mean, not in contact with any mathematics and outside world. It's not today's world of Zooming, all those things. It was in 1976. And then I had a postdoc position opening up in Zurich at the ETH. So my husband, Raman, looked at this letter of invitation, and he had a very good job in Tanzania, and he had options to shift to World Bank and so on. He looked at this and he saw me quite unhappy not doing mathematics. He said, let's take this. I'll resign my job and go with you. Okay. Not many people will make the step. So he did resign his job. He came with me to Zurich. We were there for a year as a postdoc. And then we both came back to India. Tata Institute welcomed me back. And Raman had a very good job back in India. So everything got back into gears, but the critical period, if he had not accompanied me, I might have just given up mathematics at that point. It was very pivotal to my continuing with mathematics, and I owe it to him.
Oh, I think that's just such an amazing and powerful story, and I really hope that many people who listen to this will value that and value that experience and value the sacrifice that you each made for each other and the support that you gave to each other. I think it's...
it was indeed very pivotal for my continuing career and for the rest of the career also. He was all support to me.
And he's actually here in Cambridge at the moment, isn't he?
He is in Cambridge with me at this moment. And he knows I'm giving a talk and so on. We share everything.
That's lovely.
That's so super inspiring to realise just how much anyone, whether they're your spouse or whatever, can empower in that very meaningful way.
It's career. Just not my spouse. My son is constantly tracking me. And he said, oh, you gave a talk. How did this go? What was the title of the talk? He is a finance man. He has no idea. He just had an undergrad math degree. But he tracks me all the time, and he's full of enthusiasm what I'm doing, what lecture I'm giving, and so on. Yeah.
Oh, that's really uplifting to hear. Thank you.
And do you understand does he talk to you about the work that he does and the mathematics involved in his work in the finance world?
When he talks to me, I understand very little. But he talks more to me about mathematics than I do to him about finance.
That's lovely. And something else I'd like to ask. So we're now back in the world of seeing people again. You know, there's 7 times more people in the institute at this workshop than there are who are online. And I'd just love for you just to talk a little bit about what it's been like reconnecting with people, how much you'd seen people before this workshop and before this program.
Yeah, actually, you know, especially in the recent situation of the pandemic. Since January 2020, I have never traveled out of Atlanta for about 2 years. And this is my first international trip since the pandemic. So I was thrilled to be with people, to see people, to talk to people. Everything is exhilarating for me after the pandemic. It's indeed true. It's my very first trip. And
that's wonderful. And you can feel that energy in the room, can't you, of that exhilaration?
Absolutely, it is true. And similar sentiments are mentioned by several colleagues. And it has been a very, very, very enjoyable, fruitful trip for me mathematically.
I'm so happy to hear that. It made me reflect. When I opened the workshop this morning, this was the first workshop of this half of the program, and I opened the first workshop, which was 2 years and 5 months ago to this day, and it felt amazing seeing the faces that we recognised from the first iteration of this program back in the building again, and it felt like
Sure.
a real excitement in that we'd overcome to a very large extent the hurdle, and there was just this energy of this room. Everyone's so happy to be here and exchanging ideas in mathematics.
It's absolutely true what you're saying, and it's just, it's really, I'm so happy I'm here.
It's a difficult question to ask because mainly it's an opportunity for professional networking and enjoying the seminars being stimulated by them. But do you think you're finding a good opportunity to sort of exchange information? A lot of people say that they discover things from other people at the workshop, which really open their eyes to a new direction for their own research. I don't know if you've been to any I&I programs or workshops before.
So actually, I'm very, very, I have positive reaction to talking to people, and much of my research either originated or developed through personal interactions and conversations with mathematicians at meetings, workshops, and so on and so forth. This has been my main source of inspiration all my career. And so, in fact, the very first, one of my major mathematical programs, the so-called U invariant of quadratic forms, I don't want to take, some question which I was interested in. The very first step of progress was done when I was visiting Newton Institute along with another colleague, Suresh. And it started off at that time with a positive step. And this continued after more than 10, 15 years. The next big step happened. And even today, I'm interested in continuing questions on the same topic. So I gain a lot by talking to people and interacting with mathematicians at such meetings. That's true.
It's lovely to hear. How long were you here for the first time around?
First time I was here for just 3 weeks. Already it was a very fruitful stay. It was very nice, and the effect of it is still continuing, the program.
That's amazing that impact is still impacting
there.
on
Sure.
you.
And in fact, the talk I gave today is something on the question which I looked at that time, so many years later.
That's just delight for us to hear.
And I'm sure anyone listening can tell that in the background we have the hubbub of your colleagues at this particular workshop, because this is a break in between the seminars. Sure. And you've kindly given us your time during this period, which is wonderful. Would you have any sort of advice from your experience of being here to pass on to anyone who may be thinking of visiting?
Visiting the institute.
Yes.
Grab the opportunity. No, I think this town itself has an atmosphere, and universities everywhere, colleges. I mean, I love university and college towns. And Cambridge is special. And you have every ambience you need to just think of your work, talk to people, interact with a wide spectrum of people, and it's just wonderful. Yeah.
I'm always very interested because almost all academics are very well travelled, and particularly yourself. You are currently based working in the US. You have spent a lot of your career working in India, and of course visiting the UK for events like this. Would you say that there's much of a difference in the working environments between those three places, or do you find that maths and people are the same in each environment?
I think I would. The environments are, I mean, of course, the research institutes in such meetings, like Newton Institute, I would compare like the Oberolfach Institute for Mathematics or the Banff, or there are similar institutions where there are over the year meetings and so on. They are all exhilarating, wonderful, but each has its own ambience and attractions. Each one, like Cambridge, or this Black Forest in Germany, or the Banff National Park, they all have their distinctive features. About Tata Institute India and Emory University, there is a distinction also because Tata Institute is a pure research institute. Emory University is a teaching university. So I also enjoyed teaching undergrads and so on. That I started after I left Tata Institute. They have different ambiences. However, both provided me with the best of opportunities. So
that's wonderful to hear.
Thank you so much. I'm very aware that the bell has just gone, saying it's the end of the break, and we have taken up your entire break. But thank you so much for...
It's wonderful talking to both of you.
Thank you.
And I hope I made some sense.
It was just wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been a joy.